So this is for John Michael Bailey's new blog series on marketing questions for professionals. Question 1 on what concept in marketing white belt was hardest for me to get was probably, believe it or not, the 4 Ps, the whole marketing mix, only because it was difficult to keep my brain from wanting to wander away and explore all these other things. Like, what about this? Well, what about this? Well, how does this fit in? And keeping your brain confined to this is what we're trying to learn was really difficult. So I think that was probably by far the hardest. But overall, it was more, here's the framework, learn the framework, and then worry about all the variations later. Learn the basics first. Question 2, predictions for email marketing for 2014. Probably the biggest thing is the continued merging of the industry, all of these companies sort of merging together, and seeing the ESP, the email service provider, really is becoming almost an endangered species. And there's good reason for that. An email service provider is a single function company, right? It's a single function tool. You send email, which is great, but at the same time, it has to be in this bigger picture of marketing automation, of analytics, being part of the bigger picture processes. We saw this when Pardot got bought out by ExactTarget, and ExactTarget got bought out by Salesforce, and Oracle bought out Eloqua. So all this consolidation in the industry is a reflection of the way marketing is changing, that these things have to be bigger systems. I think you'll see the established players get vacuumed up. It would not surprise me at all to see something like a MailChimp get bought out. And then you will inevitably see, okay, the space is consolidated. There are fewer of these big companies now, and there's a lot of open field, and you'll have a whole new round of startups, people who are making very agile marketing automation systems, low budget ones, because not everyone can afford $1,200 or $1,500 or $3,000 a month, particularly on the small business side. So that'll be an interesting space to watch as well. Question 3 on podcasting for small businesses. Probably the biggest thing to realize is that, and this is true of any form of content, people think I'm going to build content and people will find it and they'll love it. And with podcasting especially, because it's so poorly indexed, it's audio or it's audio and video, very rarely are there subtitles provided. You need to spend a lot of time on the audience. I'm not saying don't create great content. You have to create great content. That's table stakes now. What you need to do then is invest a lot of time in building out that audience. Get influencers, get word of mouth, get some press, get some mentions, get placements, get noticed, get reshared. Build out that audience, because the audience is very, very fickle. And because it's a podcast, there's just because they're subscribed doesn't mean they're actually listening to it or watching it. So you need to engage as much as possible. There's a mind map over on my blog, and we'll send a link over on sort of the marketing methods for a podcast. I would strongly recommend that you pull that out and just ask yourself, am I doing these things with my podcast? And if so, are they working as well as they could be? Question 4. The future of PR. PR is kind of going away too, traditionally. What we used to think of as PR, which is send a bunch of press releases and talk to reporters and call it a day, right? Get some martinis at the local club, or the Mad Men kind of era. That's going away too, because the idea of public relations in the old days was, here's the media, here's the audience, you work with the media companies to talk to the audience. Well, social media and the internet democratized the media process. It democratized the audience. Everyone is a publisher. Everyone is the media. I'm doing a video recording here. It's not going to go on TV. Maybe, I don't know. But it's still going to go to more people than probably watch the local cable access channel. So PR has had to and continues to adapt to this new landscape where an influencer, someone who can talk about and share and spread the word, may not be just the news anchor. It may be the news anchor and the camera guy who you run into at Starbucks. Really good example of this. NBC Nightly News has Jim Long, New Media Jim, on Twitter. I would argue that in a lot of circles, Jim is more influential as the guy behind the camera than some of the people who are in front of the camera. They're the talent. But when you're talking about what's going on and where exciting things are happening, Jim, the camera guy, is more informative than the media, the media personality. So it's an interesting twist, and for PR, we have to continue to adapt, continue to reach further down into the marketing funnel as well, because the value of PR is that it brings new audiences to your door. If the door is locked, then all the PR in the world isn't going to help your company. You're going to go out of business and fire your PR firm. So for a lot of PR firms, Shift Communications in specific, we're looking at ways to help companies further down in the marketing funnel so that when we bring in all this great press, they have a place to go, they have things to buy, and the company makes some money, and they keep us. It's enlightened self-interest, if you will. How do I find the time to gather and create so much content? A lot of it's systematized, a lot of it's processes, and a lot of it's a lot of time. My day is spent anywhere from an hour and a half to 2 hours a day reading and researching and digging into things, learning, testing things out, experimenting. Because if I don't do that, then when something new pops up, I'm taken by surprise, and I don't like being taken by surprise. For example, Twitter had magic recommendations. That's what they think, to follow this this handle they've got, and they'll recommend people that you should follow. I got to test it out. I got to see, how does it work? Can advertisers buy into it? Things like that. So it's testing, it's seeing what's new, what's interesting. Google's new keyword search thing, which is about 48 hours old at this point. Writing blog posts about it, creating content on it, understanding how it fits into the big picture. That's probably the biggest secret of all, is if you know what the big picture more or less looks like, even if you're not talented or proficient in each of the tactical implementations, then when something new comes along, you know how it fits in. You know, hey, this is going to be a game changer, or that's a wannabe, or even worse, it's just completely irrelevant. So lots of reading, lots of research. You're going to spend a couple hours a day. Invest that time in yourself. Invest that time for your company. Be willing to set that time aside and apart. Who is a better gamer, me or Chris Brogan? I would probably say me. Chris is very, very good at partitioning his time, and I don't think invests a lot of time in gaming entertainment. I don't know though, because I also don't watch any television, so my entertainment time is gaming. So you'd have to ask him. Thanks for watching.